All right, let's put our hands together for Mr. Costa Magoulas.
Let me start off by saying I did not bring any food and I'm not cooking, okay? Kitchen gadgets, they're not your friend. I can't stand them, I don't use them. So why is it a $10 billion industry? It's mind-boggling. You know, my wife and her friends, they insist on buying me every gadget that comes along. Slicer, dicer, get a carrot spoon, pea spoon. I didn't know spoons had their own vegetables. It's amazing. And I have all these things, have no idea what to do with them. Until one day I came up with something. I said, you know what? I can come up with this. I do a wind chime and I give them to my friends. But you know what? We really need to go back in history to look at where this all started. Where did this madness begin? Well, if you go back 200,000 years ago when we started cooking in caves, I don't see any gadgets here. There's fire, rocks, maybe a stone knife or something, but not a whole lot going on there. So this is where we started at. Well, it amazes me that 200,000 years later, medieval times, we built our own caves. Pretty close to the same thing. Of course, they had an open fire. They had a few more things, a pot, maybe that, but not a whole lot of different things. They were cooking over an open fire. Not a lot of gadgets. Now, yes, they had some tools. They had a pot, a meat hook, a little mortar and pestle for spices to cover up the bad smell, some knives. But you know what? They really did come up with something in the 1600s. It was brilliant. The fork to eat with. The Italians came up with it. Instead of, here, have some meat, have some salad. Well, they came up with a fork, and Queen Elizabeth, she said, oh, the Italians, they're too fussy when they eat. So in the early 1800s came along the stove, and this really was a great move. So you could cook indoors, you could regulate the heat, you could do a lot of things with cooking, and it kind of changed cooking, but they didn't have a lot of gadgets. Now, they did have some convenient foods. Canned foods came along. Only problem, they didn't know how to open them. They used to use an axe or a knife to cut them open. Here came the first real kitchen gadget that made some sense. I'm telling you, it's beautiful. The can opener. Isn't that sleek? Now, I wish I had one. But I have to tell you something. 150 years later, you know what we're opening up cans with in the U.S.? Didn't change a whole lot. We used a can opener. Only thing that they did, they added a bottle opener to it, okay? Well, in all fairness, they did come up with some gadgets in the early 1800s. There wasn't a whole lot of things that they did, but they did come up with some really cute ideas. They came up with a knife sharpener, the egg beater, come on, 1800s. Potato peeler, it's grater, but let me tell you something. In the horizon was the pig. The pig was coming, and he was going to change everything. That's right, folks, Piggly Wiggly. 1916, first Piggly Wiggly in Tennessee. You could go to a supermarket and buy food. Oh my goodness, grab all these things. But that was only the precursor of the big supermarkets to come. So what would that do? Look at what they had, all these convenient foods. In 1950, they actually started cutting up chickens. You didn't have to cut them anymore. But let me tell you something. Did this change the way that we did our kitchen work and get gadgets? All this did was create bigger kitchens so we could store more gadgets. Look in here. It's drawers and drawers of gadgets. It's mind-boggling. I can't believe it. You know, what's really amazing about all of this is when you look back at early history, it took all day to cook food. Today's kitchens, we spend more money to go out to eat than we do groceries. First time in history. And guess what? 45 minutes. That's all we spend in the kitchen. So what does that mean? We buy more gadgets. That's just crazy. Gadgets, 30% of you out there will buy a kitchen gadget. My wife will buy twice that much. But this 30% will go out there and buy kitchen gadgets. That's a fact. But I know something about them that you don't know, okay? 25% will never be used. 20% you use only 6 times a year. Are you kidding me? So what do? Chefs, we really got it together. Give me a hand, a knife, a pot, a pan. We can cook anything. But I have to tell you, there is one gadget that I found that I could not resist, and I want to share it with you tonight. It is amazing. I'm telling you. It is great. You can clean the floor when you're cooking and sloshing around. Get that gravy over there. Please, gadgets are not your friend.